All these things are much more desirable than the disaster known as Shadow of the Beast, a Geely-esque port for the Genesis that makes me want to get cancer and die at the sight of it. I'm not exaggerating either. Just start playing and one thing will become very apparent. This game will rape you. And your mother. The difficulty is the stuff of legends. The enemies are so tightly packed and varied that all you can really do when starting out is die. Take this section I like to call the Man-Maker. And by Man-Maker, I mean get mercilessly bludgeoned with a pickaxe until you cry like a little girl. Enemies come out of the woodwork so often that dying will become a national pastime in no less than 5 minutes. They're so well hidden that those musical notes in Fantasia get penis envy from their anonymity. Not only are they hard to detect, these flying enemies are a pure bitch. Look at the time it takes for this enemy to get from the end of the screen to me. How does the average human being have time to react to that? If we're going this fast, the only way people are going to guess how the enemies are coming is by glaring at both ends of the screen with that overused bullet time feature. And even then it's a crapshoot. So not only is one going to need godlike reflexes, but unbelievable resolve. Not just because it's balls to the wall hard, but because this game shows enough mercy to leave you with only 12 health points before you get a permanent resident 6 feet under. That's also not counting the cheap one-hit kills. If you even touch one of these things, good night. No extra lives, no continues, just excruciating pain. Yes, there are health potions in this game, but they're so sparse that I have a better chance of being considered as funny than of finding one. So best bet would be to just pray that you don't get hit. And there's a better chance of finding Jimmy Hoffa than of that happening. This masochist session is greatly amplified if you miss something somewhere in one of the extremely expansive levels. Aw, I can't get this potion. Because I didn't search for the lever that says don't touch back where I killed the Grateful Dead roadie wagon. Golly gee, that wasn't fucking obvious! You miss something important in this game, you're like a prostitute on her first night on the job. You're fucked. Pray this game wore a condom. Even with rote memorization of where the enemies are, it's still tough because not only do they fly at you like a bat out of hell, the character's attacks feel sluggish and unresponsive. When you're moving and appear to have your target set, the character suddenly stops as he punches, which totally destroys any type of trajectory your hit may have had, which leads to gang rape. When an enemy comes behind you, the character turns around slowly compared to everything else to reach the other side just in time to receive gang rape from said enemy. But it gets better. The 1 second damage protection after being hit, it's back with a vengeance. And will result in mental scarring. And more gang rape. The final result? Goatsy and the destruction of the anal glands. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're just bashing the game because it's hard. Grow some balls and stop sucking on purpose, you fat fuck. I'm not. You want to know why this game has appeal rivaling the electric chair? 2 words. Shitty porting. The job that EA did bringing this game over to the States was so terrible that words cannot describe it. Want proof? The collision detection in this game is, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst I have ever seen in my life. You thought the collision detection in Dark Castle and Sword of Sodan were appalling? Eat your heart out. You will both hit and get hit by enemies that you are nowhere near. Take, for example, this dragon boss. As I'm trying to evade its attacks, I notice that I am viscerally assaulted, even by ducking from something I am nowhere near. What's apparently giving me said damage? This thing, which is a good 5 feet away from my character. The last time that happened, those responsible were sent to the gallows. I wouldn't mind it if this were the only case, but this happens time and 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 time again! Forget waterboarding. This is torture at its finest. Pop this game in front of any terrorist and they'll be talking in 5 minutes. Guaranteed. But wait, there's more. EA was so incompetent in porting this game that they didn't even get the game speed right. Want to know why the enemies are coming at you at blazing speed with little time to react? It was programmed that way. When converting the game to NTSC format, EA was too busy rushing this game out the door that they forgot to change how long the game frames were up on the screen for. This means that the Genesis port is 16.7% faster than the original. Do you know how terrible one would have to be as a playtester to let a 1/6 increase in game speed slide? How far up their own ass were the programmers when they thought this abomination was worthy of public release? I hope people were fired, neutered, and or hanged after this. That would be the least they could have done. The speed issues are emphasized when one hears the music. In the original, the music was haunting. It helped to set a dark mood, one full of mystery and suspense. What did EA give us in its stead? The dance mix. this is that it's not mysterious, it's just corny and ill-fitting. Combined with cheap excuses for sound effects, this game, like EA's other ports, hit the audio, visual, and mental trifecta of gang rape. Except this game will do it harder and faster until every orifice in your body is gushing out quarts upon quarts of blood. Long story short, they destroyed any potential of this game capturing any charm or quality the original may have had. And it's a damn shame, because there are some very creative monster designs here. Well, excluding the unwarranted Psygnosis ego stroke. The Amiga version of the game seems very hard in its own right, but this port is such a miscarriage that it is virtually unplayable. All you will receive in playing this game is the pain of experiencing childbirth while getting hit by a commercial airliner, sans the rewards of children or death. Now, instead of being a competent reviewer, by manning up and trying to beat this sucker, I'm just going to take the lazy way out and vicariously steal someone else's footage to see how it ends. Nobody's going to notice anyway. Congratulations, you have freed yourself from the shadow of the beast! Dear God, I didn't even finish the game and I'm offended! Well, if you're going to poorly snuck at me, I might as well return the favor. Congratulations, EA. You've released games so terrible that every other shitty game developer that has ever existed can manage to walk with their heads held high as they didn't release these putrid abominations. These games make me want to inflict physical harm upon my body to the point where it would involve the dismemberment of limbs and organs. The ports you have released onto the market have better use as a food source for starving African children than in a game system. EA, you may call these games, but I call them fucking pathetic wastes of plastic designed by the legions of Hades. You have unleashed Pandora's box and you should be ashamed for it. Oh, never good. If anybody needs me, I'll be weeping for my lost virginity. For shame, EA. For shame.